Hey guys, this is Food by Faith Garden to Table and welcome to my kitchen. It is a lovely Monday morning. I have a lot of deep cleaning that I need to do in the house, cleaning out the cabinets, vacuuming out the drawers and everything. So I decided for my brunch today, I wanted chicken and waffles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our balsamic onion jam, mix it with a little bit of oil, stir it up. I'm going to take probably about 2 tablespoons of this, 2 to 3 tablespoons, mix it with some olive oil and make a marinade for my chicken breast. This is a lot of chicken breast. I'm not going to use it all with that marinade. I'm going to marinate some of the other half of it with the lemon pepper seasoning, and I'll have that for dinner tonight. But we're also going to make some homemade waffles. I'm actually going to make a bulk batch of waffles. So I'm probably going to make the recipe that I'm using. Let me see. It doesn't say exactly how many waffles that it makes, but it makes a good bit of batter. So I'll probably make about 4 to 5 waffles, and I'm going to use either my Belgian waffle maker or my Mickey Mouse waffle maker, probably my Belgian waffle maker, and then I can break them up and store them that way, and I can store them flat. So what we have here, we're going to be using almond milk for our waffles. You can use regular milk. I'm going to be using almond milk. We're going to be using baking powder, baking soda. We're going to be using, of course, my double strength vanilla extract. You can get that on my website. We're going to be spraying our waffle maker with a little bit of pan spray, but I'll probably use a little bit more of ghee. And we're going to use some salt, we're going to use flour, and we're going to use sugar. The recipe only calls for about 2 tablespoons of sugar. Actually, it calls for 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm actually going to put about 3 tablespoons of sugar in it. So what we'll have is 2 large eggs, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cup of milk, alternative milk or regular milk, a 1/2 cup of oil, a tablespoon white sugar, 4 teaspoons baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon salt, a 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract, and for your waffle maker, your nonstick spray. But of course, I'm going to use ghee. So come along with me, hang out with me as we make these waffles this morning. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Hey family, so we are back and we are ready to get our batter assembled for our waffles. We have our pot on the stove with our oil in it, our vegetable oil. We have our chicken pieces marinating, and then I'm going to coat them in self-rising flour, and then we're going to cook them. This beautiful little pot that I have, you guys really, if you have time, go over to Tisha Tips. She sent this pot to me. I'm in the process, you guys know, I call it downsizing, but what's happening is my family members are transitioning. My children are going off to college and to the military, and I was having trouble cooking for 2 people, just me and my husband. And so in my mailbox one day were these 2 small pots. So it was this one and one that goes along with it, and they stack one on top of the other. It was, sorry, it was this pot right here and that pot, and when you put them up, they stack one on top of the other. But they're beautiful little pots, and in using them, I can cook just enough for me and my husband, or if one of my kids are over, it could be for me, one of my kids, and my husband. But I'm not using my big old pots where I'm making so much food and throwing it away. So that is just a good tip. And again, if you guys get a chance, go over to Tisha's Tips. She has some amazing financial tips. She shows you how she came from the bottom and where she is right now. So let's get back to this batter. I've already poured our milk into our bowl. What I need to do is refill our bulk thing of flour. I have our Belgian waffle maker. It is warming. Inside my bulk container of flour, I do have bay leaves. And the reason why I put the bay leaves in there is so that it keeps bugs out, namely a bug that we call weevils. And they're little black bugs that they can get into your containers. Don't know how they get into there, but they do. But the bay leaves tend to help. And again, I've had I've been using this flour in this container for the longest. This is my label. I've been using it in that container for the longest, and I have not encountered any weevils. So the bay leaves are working. So for this batter, we're actually going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So that is 2 cups. I also have my grease going on the stove as well, so we can kind of work on things at the same time. And remember, I said that we're going to be making bulk waffles, so it's okay that I have both going at the same time. And then in the end, the last waffle will be the one that I eat for brunch. So we got our flour in here. We have our milk in here. We're going to put our 2 eggs. And if you are using eggs from your chickens, try to use a large size egg. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And the baking powder will help it rise, the baking powder and the baking soda, as well as give the waffles a crispy texture. We're going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Kind of bring you in closer so you're not to my back. I hate it when I'm doing instructional videos and I have to have you at my back. So we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon. Of salt. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now me, I'm actually going to put a full teaspoon in there. And then our sugar. You can also substitute honey as well. And we also need some oil. So I'm gonna go over and get our oil. Let's go get our oil as well as a ladle. Now recipe calls for a half a cup of oil. Get that all mixed up. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to let this sit, and then I'm going to bring you over and we are going to flour our chicken and place it into our oil to cook. Here you see we have our chicken. You can use skinless chicken thighs as well, but I had chicken breast on hand. We have it marinated in our oil and our balsamic onion jam. We're gonna coat it with self-rising flour, and I like to fry with self-rising flour because it has the added baking soda and baking powder in it, and it gives a crispy coating. Okay, and our oil is nice and hot. We have our waffle batter over there resting. Remember not to crowd your pan. Because as you place the chicken in there, it does cool down your oil. Okay, let's get our hands washed up. And remember, because you're cooking chicken breast, it will not take a long time. We're going to turn our oven on so that we're able to keep these warm. we're gonna go with our next batch. And I'm gonna use this little tongue so that I don't have to go back and get that flour and grime off my hands again. And because of the type of marinade that we used, your chicken will be a bit more brown than what it would be if you just used the flour. So while that is going, we're going to come in and we are going to put in our first waffle. As you can see, our Belgian waffle maker is nice and warm. We're at the end of this container of ghee. And our batter is not heavy, and that is because I do not want dense waffles. I want them to be nice, thick, crispy waffles. So we're gonna let that go. As that is going, we are watching over. As that is going, we are watching over our chicken that we have over here, and we're going to begin to put up some of the items that we're not using. We're going to do it without tearing anything up. I know that whenever we are doing these demonstrations that I adjust you guys a lot, but that's because I want you to see close-up views. I want you to see all the things that I'm doing while I am cooking, so that whenever you do your process, that you know exactly what I'm doing. So when it comes to the waffle, we'll leave it for probably about 3 minutes, and then it'll be ready to remove, and we'll place it on our plate. Clean as you go. Get rid of all your old dishes. Get rid of the things that you're not using. Make sure we're checking on our chicken over here. And while we wait on our waffle, I want to refill my self-rising flour container that I keep inside the house. So I keep a big bulk one outside, and then I keep one in the house. And I make sure I keep everything labeled so that if anybody is to come behind me, they know exactly what they are using. And also because I use 3 different types of flour, sometimes 4, but the majority of the time you'll see that I use self-rising flour, I use cake flour, and I use all-purpose flour. Let's check our waffle. Not brown enough, as well as I know that the next time I need to add more batter. So the chicken is coming along nicely. Because we have a few more pieces in there than we had in the last batch. I'm eating a piece, guys. It's so good. So it's taking a little bit longer. But I will tell you, marinating in that balsamic onion jam and that olive oil was really good. Because I can taste the sweetness of the plums as well as the onions. It is so good, and it is a good addition to the waffle so that we can have a little bit of sweet, a little bit of savory for our brunch. And you guys know that I absolutely love brunch. So this is like our tester waffle. Still too light. So what I'm gonna do, kind of brush our pan with the ghee. And we're gonna make sure we fill it up. We're gonna flip it over this time. And let's do our timer for 4 minutes. I want it to stay on our towel. So we're gonna let that go for 4 minutes and then we'll be back, okay? All right, guys, so we got our chicken out. Nice and golden. And here is our second waffle. Remember, this time we added a little bit of extra batter and we left it in for 4 minutes versus the 3 minutes. Now look at that. It's hot, but look at that. So we're gonna brush it down with our ghee. And you guys came along with me the other day whenever I made the ghee. So what ghee is, it is a form of clarified butter. So, and it allows for your butter to have a longer shelf life because you are literally cooking it down on a low temp until the milk solids begin to burn off. When those milk solids begin to burn to the bottom of the pan, when those milk solids begin to burn to the bottom of the pan, then you know that your ghee is ready. So it's not something that you can set it and forget it. You seriously have to watch it. You have to be in the vicinity of where you are making this product. And that is because in the beginning, it will just kind of simmer, kind of be warm. You'll begin to see it'll froth on the top. It should never come to a rolling boil, because then instantly it'll begin either to burn or become brown butter. Now, we all know that brown butter is absolutely amazing. I actually make brown butter in bulk. I do at least 4 8-ounce containers of brown butter at a time, so that whenever I need it, I already have it available. And just like you would sit regular butter on your counter to soften, I sit my brown butter on my counter to soften. With my ghee, once it begins to, you kind of tip the pot and you can see that the milk solids are turning brown on the bottom, then you know that your ghee is ready. If they begin to turn black, your ghee is almost burnt. So you have to really watch it. I have had this container sitting on my countertop for a week. No mold or anything like that. You cannot really can ghee. It is not a safe canning practice. So what I do, and I got this recipe from, I'll link her name in the description box. I've watched her for a while, and she's actually a scientist, and she does a lot of research when she does these items. But what you do is, while your ghee is extremely hot, so your jars need to be hot, your lids need to be hot, your jars need to be extremely dry because you're putting that butter into it. You pour it in there and you instantly put your lids and your seals on, and it cans sort of that way. And you then can put it up and it will store. And so, because I like to use a lot of olive oil and things like that when I'm cooking, instead of using the regular butter, and when I don't have olive oil, which is very rare, I use the ghee. But I use ghee a lot, like in my everyday cooking. Like as you see, I'm using it in these waffles. So although I did not use the milk in the waffles, the regular milk, I'm using the ghee. And so that also gives me an extra level of flavor. And if you watch that recipe, I was able to get 6 8-ounce containers of ghee. And if you were to buy 1 8-ounce container of ghee, it ranges from $7 to $12. And that's for 1 container. So I make my own. So let's check our waffle. I think it's been a little bit of time. So we're gonna flip it back over. Nice and gorgeous. And remember, these waffles are going to be single layered. I'm actually going to, so it's 4 squares. I'm actually gonna break them down into 2 squares, and that's how I'm going to store them. And whenever I store them, whenever it's time for me to eat them, my toaster, you can put bagels in it, so it has wide inserts, so you can then put these into the toaster. And guys, that first waffle that we made that was kind of ugly, I tasted it. It was so good. It was sweet. It was buttery. So the extra tablespoon of sugar works. Right. Now, and having a Belgian waffle maker as one of your tools at your house is an amazing thing to have. I think I've had this for years. And so this little bit of batter is not going to make a full one. but we're still gonna use it, and it'll probably make 2 sections. Let's get that flipped over. 4 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, we are finally at the end. We are at our last waffle. You can see here that it made 3 beautiful waffles. So now we know that the batter will make 4 section waffles. In here, that last little bit of batter that we had will only make 2 sections, and it may very well not make 2 full sections. So we're gonna get this finished up. Thank you again for coming along with me and making brunch today. I have a few more projects that I need to complete. I gotta break down some mangoes, get them separated, cut sections, and placed into the freezer, as well as finish some house deep cleaning. But again, we have to eat. So thank you for coming along with me. As always, remember to get up, get out, and grow something, and have faith in our food. We'll see you the next time, and it'll probably be over brunch.